The future is bright in Vancouver as NHL.com publishes their list of the Canucks' top 5 prospects and when we could potentially see them making the permanent leap to the show. We'll be breaking down all that in this episode of Canucks Digest, but first make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you don't miss annual updates surrounding the Canucks as we head into the preseason. With that, let's hop into the first topic of the day, which is Canucks' top 5 prospects. We see here in an article from Kevin Woodley of NHL.com with the top prospects for the Canucks, teasing 2 in the subtitle there with Lekkerimäki and Shilovs being mentioned, and that's going to take us into the first player, which is Jonathan Lekkerimäki. If you've been following the channel, you know that this is Mark's favorite prospect that we have in our system. He's definitely one of our top guys, selected number 15 overall in the 2022 NHL draft. Last season with Albro HK, where he really shined and broke out. With 46 games played, he had 19 goals, 12 assists for 31 points, and he's coming to North America after that breakout season, though most likely scenario is starting with Abbotsford in the AHL. His scoring ability gives him a chance to help the Canucks in the NHL, so he's going to come to Abbotsford, get used to North American ice, and then make the leap into the NHL when he is good and ready. At 5'11", 172 pounds, he had a disappointing first season of injuries and illness after being drafted by Vancouver, but bounced back in the top level of the SHL last season, and with all his awards, most valuable player at the IHF in 2024 with 10 points, 7 goals, and 3 assists in 7 games and 1 goal and 1 assist in 6 late season AHL games before turning 20 on July 24th. We've been covering his accolades and his awards that he's already accumulated on the international level on this channel. And that late taste of professional hockey in North America had Lekkerimäki focused on getting stronger and faster. So he definitely wants to prove his game. And in the quote from Patrik Allvin, we were obviously very excited about the progress Jonathan showed us. It was really important for Jonathan to attend Abbotsford for a couple of weeks to feel the difference of playing on a smaller ice surface, playing in the AHL. Hopefully that will set him up well for training camp, and it's nice to see that they're golden goose as far as prospects go. They're not wanting to rush him. They want to take their time with him. They don't want to just throw him into there, feed him to the wolves like some other prospects they've been doing to see if he sinks or swims. They want to make sure that he's good and ready and not rushing anything, especially from a developmental standpoint, from a maturity standpoint, mentally, physically, all aspects. You just want to make sure that this top prospect is ready to go, and I couldn't agree more with this statement. He's definitely our top guy, and I think he's going to be the one that we're going to see in the NHL the soonest. I think, and you see there in his projected arrival that he is coming in at 2025-2026 season, so we could see him there very soon. There's a couple guys on this list that you're going to see projected to arrive in the NHL at that point, and that's going to be interesting as far as what Vancouver set up for the future. But heading into the second one, you have defenseman Tom Willander, selected number 11 overall in the 2023 NHL draft. His last season with Boston University, in 38 games played, 4 goals, 21 assists for 25 points, and that was when he wasn't even the top defenseman there on the top pairing. The Canucks were happy Willander came over from Sweden to play at Boston University last season rather than staying home to play professionally like some other country mates that he has, and projected by Allvin as a perfect fit as a potential future partner for Norris Trophy winning defenseman Quinn Hughes. The smooth skating Willander at 6'1", 180 pounds will return to Boston University for his sophomore season, focus on continuing to get stronger while also growing his offensive game after leading the Terrys at plus 28 last season, with his projected NHL arrival also being at 2025-2026. And this is awesome for Willander, where he is one of these guys where he's going back to Boston University, celebrating is gone. He's going to be the top defenseman there. He's going to shine even more than he did last season. That plus minus is probably going to go up a bit more, and that point total is definitely going to go up more. As far as goals go, probably a little bit more, but assists are definitely going to pile on. Total points are definitely going to rack up, and we're going to see him starting to develop into this Quinn Hughes type player where he's going to be a bit more physical than Quinn Hughes, but he's still going to be able to have that point production put up there, especially when we're hearing that Filip Hronek could eventually be on his own line. They're going to separate the two or switch him between lines. So having that line mate lined up next for Quinn Hughes is going to be major for the Canucks going forward to make sure you have that contingency plan and that he is going to be good and ready. I think it's nice that Lekkerimäki and Willander, our top 2 prospects, are projected to be 2025, 2026, but someone who is already there is Artur Shilovs at number 3. He was selected late in the draft in 2019 at 156 overall. You see there in his stats with Abbotsford last season, and he struggled in the AHL, but when he jumped to the Stanley Cup playoffs specifically, in those later regular season games, he did struggle a little bit against some weaker teams. But the 23-year-old got a chance to play after Demko and Casey DeSmith were injured in the Western Conference first round against the Nashville Predators. Played well enough to keep the starting job, as we all saw. Tocchet loved him way over DeSmith and just kept him in there for the rest of the playoffs. Didn't come out at all after that. It was just the Artie party all the way there. Though there is still work to do in learning to manage traffic at the NHL level. Shilovs proved in the playoffs he has the physical tools and poise to succeed under pressure in Vancouver, and already he is in the NHL. That knee ligament inflammation is going to be a thing to watch out for and see if that is something that develops into something serious, or if he is going to be able to just tame that and just be ready to go for the regular season, especially with Thatcher Demko going to be on the injured list, it seems like, to start the season. So that's going to be big. And the big thing there was the through traffic. I think that was one of the main things that Edmonton really exploited against Artur Shilovs, where against Nashville, they were able to keep Nashville close, where Nashville was getting close to Shilovs, but he was just shutting him down up front. But it's in that secondary where Boeser was just launching those bombs. Ekholm was launching bombs. And from a distance, Shilovs really struggled as far as up close, where he just had things locked down. But he definitely shows poise. He's very good under pressure. He showed that by just stepping up in the NHL after having not the greatest of seasons with Abbotsford. So it is nice to see him make that jump, and he seems like he is here to stay in the NHL. He is still considered a prospect because he is still on that two-way contract should they send him down to Abbotsford at some point in the future for some reason. But as far as other prospects go, he is here. He is here to stay in the NHL. But that's going to take us into the fourth prospect on the list, which is Aatu Räty, which was acquired in a trade with the New York Islanders on January 30th, 2023 in Abbotsford last season. 72 games played, 18 goals, 34 assists for 52 points, which is not bad. He almost doubled his offensive output in his second full AHL season and first season in the Canucks organization last season. But perhaps more importantly, the 21-year-old showed more signs he might be able to play center instead of wing in the NHL. We saw him play multiple different positions in Abbotsford last season. I think that's something Manny is definitely going to use to his advantage going into next season. Räty coming in at 6'2", 190 pounds, played both positions for Abbotsford like we just said. He took major steps, said Patrik Allvin. I was really impressed with his commitment, his maturity level, very consistent. I'm excited to see him at camp. He's definitely in the mix. And again, same projected arrival of 2025, 2026. So the future is looking pretty stacked up for Vancouver looking into the future as far as 2025, 2026, bringing these prospects into the NHL level with our top three guys poised to be set for their NHL debut at the same time. So we do have a lot of contracts that are going to be coming up eventually in the few years. We did sign a few guys long-term, but for those short-term contracts, our contingency plans are already in place. We're not going to have to go out and get an expensive guy because we're going to have guys that have already been molded by the Vancouver system, by this Manny Malhotra team in Abbotsford, and this Rick Tocchet organization that is full of player alumni from the Vancouver Canucks history that are going to make sure these players are as ready to play for Vancouver as anyone would be from any other system or any other team for that matter. So it is nice to see that these prospects are progressing very well and are on track for a sooner debut in the NHL rather than later. And then when we look at the fifth one on the list, it is Elias Pettersson, DPD, who was selected number 80 in the 2022 NHL draft. And with his last season, he had 34 games played in 3 goals, 11 assists, 14 points. Then in Abbotsford, he had 8 games played, no goals, but 2 assists for 2 points. Projected as a shutout defenseman, Pettersson, 6'4", 210. This guy's a monster for a young guy. Played only 4 games in the top-tier SHL last season after getting into 60 games the previous 2 seasons combined. He finished the year with 8 late games in the AHL. However, given the 20-year-old a chance to get used to a quicker pace and a smaller ice surface and train appropriately this summer for full-time transition from playing in his native Sweden to Abbotsford for the season, his projected arrival is a bit later than the other guys at 2026, 2027. So again, he's not going to be a guy that's going to be ready to jump into Vancouver right away, but eventually he's going to make that jump there, and he's going to be a big boy when he gets there. He's going to have all this time to beef up in Abbotsford, get used to North American style of play, get ready to just rough some guys up and create opportunities when he's able to. So this is going to be a nice physical addition to Vancouver going forward, as well as Tom Willander when he makes that jump. Willander will be more of a point production big guy, but DPD is going to be just that big shutdown big guy, almost like Nikita Zadorov was last season. I think DPD has a chance to develop into that type of player should he beef up a bit more than he already is. He's already 6'4" at 20 years old, so that's pretty nice to see, and at 210, so he is a big boy and a big defenseman. So we're going to beef up that defensive core for the future, which is nice to see. So it maintains that physical identity that Vancouver is trying to establish heading into this season. We saw how Nashville was a major thorn in our hips as a result of that physicality. So now we're going to see Vancouver try and turn the tables on teams and just bring that physical mentality to the other teams and make sure that the fight is brought to them. But let us know what you guys think down below. What do you guys think about these prospects? What do you guys think? Is there some that NHL.com and Kevin Woodley left off the list that you would have liked to see? What are some ones that you want to see on the list or make the jump to Vancouver eventually in the near future, in the next 2 years, 3 years? Let us know down below. But that's going to take us to our second topic of the day, which is everyone's favorite topic, and that is comment of the day. And we see here from Hook Street that that list will change once Vancouver has a cup under its resume. That's referring to our last video where we talked about Quinn Hughes and JT Miller being snubbed on some lists, not given the praise they deserve. The only reason we get picked on throughout the entire league is because we don't have a cup. We are always among the top teams, but the only thing that separates us from everyone on that list is that very reason. That change is coming soon. We are long overdue, and Hughes is the guy that will take us there. I definitely agree with this. I think Hughes is the guy that finally take us to the promised land, along with JT Miller, Brock Boeser, Elias Pettersson, and this core four. I think we're going to get there with these core four in a way that other teams like Toronto might not have been able to do. So we're going to try and be that team to do it. We're going to be the first team to bring the Stanley Cup back to Canada, bring the cup home. It's going to be awesome to see Vancouver bring their first cup back to Canada. That would be cool to see. I think we're a few years away from that, if not within a year or two. But let us know what you guys think down below. What do you think Vancouver's Canucks Stanley Cup window is? Is it a few years? Is it this year or bust? Let us know down below. But that's going to do it for this episode of Canucks Digest. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Let us know down below. That's going to do it for today. Take care.